Hello, my name is Trevor Brown. I am a couples and individual relationship therapist. I am here today to talk about the 5 things that you need in order to navigate our complicated modern world to find love. So let's jump right into it with number 1. The first thing to keep in mind is that you do not need this person who you are interested in. You might really like them. You might love them. You might have met nobody like them before, but it doesn't mean that you absolutely, unequivocally need them in order for your life to be okay. And it's really imperative that you remind yourself of that, because if you don't, if you fall into the susceptible trap that you need this person in order for your life to be what you want your life to be, then you're in a disempowered position and you're probably going to come off quite needy and end up pushing them away. So remind yourself continually, I do not need this person. I might like them, they might be unique, but I don't need them. The second thing you need is an ability and a willingness to tolerate some discomfort. We think that when we find our person, the person of our dreams, the person who was made for us, that everything is going to be the happy ever after that the fairy tales tell us about love. It might be some of the time, but probably not all of the time. And if we have our hearts set on everything being smooth and comfortable and wonderful and easy from that first moment until the end of time, we're going to be really disappointed, and we're going to end up running away when things start to get a little bit sticky. So I think that it's a helpful attitude to go into relationship with, that even if this person is wonderful and our relationship is extraordinary, there will be inevitable moments of discomfort, of doubt, of anxiety. Know that, expect that, so that when those moments come, you don't take them as a sign that the relationship isn't the right one or that you need to get away from that. Okay. Thing number 3, trust your intuition around red flags. Don't ignore the red flags. Don't try to paint the red flags green. They'll just end up being yellow or orange. I think that's what green and red make, something like that. Either way, they don't make a green flag. If a flag is red and you paint it green, it's not going to become green, right? It will be orange or yellow. But I can't tell you the number of people I have worked with in the past who know that there are red flags. They see the red flags, but they don't really want to acknowledge the red flag, or they want to explain it away or justify it or repress their awareness of it or look elsewhere and focus on what they see to be the green flags. But all of this is essentially trying to paint a red flag green. It doesn't work. Don't do it. Trust your intuition. Save yourself time. Listen to the red flag and see if it can be resolved in an ongoing conversation with this person. And very quickly you'll know how big and how set in stone the red flag is. And if it's there and if it's not going anywhere, then trust yourself. Then move on. The sooner the better, for your own sake, because you have a limited amount of time on this earth. And that brings me to number 4, which is a willingness to feel alone. A willingness to feel the fear that we may end up alone forever. I know that's not nice to hear. That's a very bitter pill to swallow. But if you're looking for love, if you're deeply longing for and wanting love, it's likely that you already feel lonely or alone, or you feel afraid that you're going to end up alone, which is just a feeling that's occurring in the present moment. And the more willing you are to sit with the profound discomfort of that feeling, the more freedom you're going to end up having. And what I mean by freedom is you're going to discover that you don't actually need, in a literal sense, a relationship. You really want one, but you don't really need one. And when you don't really need one, and when you're aware of that, you're going to make much more skillful and wise decisions when it comes to potential relationship. You won't stay in a relationship that's clearly not working because you're willing to feel alone. So you'd be willing to end the relationship. So it's a difficult practice. It's paradoxical, but the more willing, the more accepting you are of your feeling of aloneness or your fears about being alone, then 9 times out of 10, the more open you're going to end up being to relationship, or the more likely you're going to be to end up in a relationship that can actually work. And number 5 is practice having boundaries early on in the beginning stages of a new relationship. Even when you're really, really excited and when it's mutual, I would still encourage you to begin to implement small boundaries, not big ones, but small ones that help remind you that you still have your life, you still have yourself, and they still have their lives and they still have themselves. And the more that you're able, that your relationship is able to handle, to make room for, to even appreciate and respect boundaries early on, then the easier it's going to be to implement boundaries when it's more important to do so further down the line. And you're going to be setting yourself up for relational success, because I think that relationship is some combination of closeness and autonomy, of togetherness and individuality. But what frequently happens is we want the closeness so bad that we end up foregoing the autonomy or the space, the individuality. And eventually we start to develop a sort of feeling of panic or claustrophobia, or like, oh my God, what about the rest of my life? 6 months into a honeymoon stage of a new relationship. So I'm not saying don't enjoy the honeymoon stage. I'm not saying don't dive in. I'm just saying take a breath here and there. Remember to create some time for yourself, because that's really going to set you up for long-term relational success. Okay, so if you make a concerted effort to maintain awareness of these 5 points we've discussed today, I can't guarantee you, but I kind of can, that your ability, the likelihood that you find the sort of love and intimacy that you're longing for is going to dramatically go up. Anyway, I hope it does. Thank you for taking the time to watch and listen to this, and please feel free to reach out with any comments or questions, or if you didn't agree with anything, I'd love to hear that too. Again, my name's Trevor Brown. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, and have a great day.